This is episode 5
Episode
of
5.
Points of View, a View Festival podcast.
It's true.
My name is Connor O'Keehan.
And I'm Vicky.
And we are your hosts of this podcast extravaganza.
It's true, and it is an extravaganza.
It's so extravaganza out. It's insane.
It's great.
On today's podcast, we have the lovely Saoirse.
Hello.
And the lovely Vitto.
Hello.
Very
Yeah,
good.
so we're going to be talking today about Saoirse and Vitto's pieces, what kind of inspired and created, all the stuff you need to know about their few piece.
It's true.
Who would like to go first?
Aye. Who should
Yeah,
go first?
you go.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
I'll go
Okay.
first.
So,
Perfect.
cool. So, yes. Saoirse,
Hey.
tell us the name of your show and when it is on.
So my show, it's called The Normal One, and it's on the second week of View. So the first performance is the 25th, Wednesday the 25th, at 6:15, and the last one, ending the festival, is 9:15 on Saturday the 28th.
9:15 p.m.
Hell yeah.
PM.
Closing
sorry,
the
yes.
show with a bang.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It will be. Nice. So you can tell us about your creative team, your actor, your writer, or the director, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so the show's written by me.
Very nice.
Woo!
First time writer. I have Cece Walker as my director.
Shout out
who
CC.
is from the director's cohort. Great gal. And then my actor is someone called Natasha Lynch, who fellow Irish person. And she's great. She's really good. Yeah.
How did you meet? Obviously, Cece is one of the directors who goes here. But how did you meet Natasha, or have you?
I've met Natasha, yeah. We met last week for a table read. She sent in a self-tape. To this day, I'm not really sure how she found us.
Yeah, you gotta ask her.
Yeah.
Ask her how she
That's
found
quite
us.
obvious.
Yeah, there's a mystery woman. Yeah.
I don't know how she actually found me.
She's my stalker. But yeah, she sent in a self-tape. She was great. Really, just the extract she chose was just perfect for what I was picturing. So we cast her. And then she came in last week for the table read. And yeah, really, really strong.
Nice.
I think her and Cece are going to do some great things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice one.
I was just gonna ask about. Obviously, you're the writer of your piece.
Yes.
You can tell us a little bit more about the story behind it and the premise behind the show.
Yeah. So basically, the story, it's about a girl called Kira, and she's talking to this mystery person about her family and basically growing up as a neurotypical person with a neurodiverse autistic brother, and basically talking about the family dynamic, what she considers her role to be in that, and kind of what it's been like growing up and now being a grown-up, and what shifts there's been through kind of pursuing her own things beyond family life. Kind of based on my own life. A lot of fiction in there, but a few of the stories that are told are based on truth.
Yeah.
So
Lovely.
yeah.
A question popped into my head, which is that I'm writing my own piece as well, and I found it interesting or difficult to toe the line between telling the truth and making something funny / interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was writing some stories about myself, and I'm this is just not funny. I need to actually make this entertaining and put in some jokes or put in something instead of just saying this happened.
Yeah.
Because you want the audience to feel some kind of truth and connection to the story, but then actually I needed to remember that I needed to fictionalize aspects of it.
Yeah.
Actually,
So true. Even some stories that I did write to begin with, which are now gone. Some are still in, but I was when I talk about this with my mum and dad, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's because they were there.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Remember when?
Yeah. Whereas I was reading it and I was nobody's gonna find this funny. This is so bizarre.
I know what you mean.
Let's not include that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some stories in there which hopefully people will find funny.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe they'll be like, what on earth? But we'll see.
Yeah. I think actually, just to talk about the festival a bit as a whole, like, I think there's like a huge theme of family in quite a few of our pieces.
100%.
Like, similar to like Nico's piece, which is Stroking the Sun, and like, I think yours and my piece are also kind of similar in a way, because it is kind of based on our lives and our experiences and the way that we have our position in the world or like in society. So like that is like, whenever I think about your piece, I think like, oh, maybe even though it's based on you, I relate to that character quite a lot as well. So that's like, it's just really interesting. Yeah, very cool. Do you have any like I know that you've had your table read, but do you have any like interesting like moments or even like challenges that have come up during like the producing side of so far?
That's a good question.
Yeah, what has like the creative process been like?
Yeah.
Even prior to like rehearsals or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like.
So like writing it and.
Writing it, coming up with the concept. Obviously, you were saying that like you've drawn inspiration from your life. Like how was that? Like how did you find like drawing from your own life to like create something like this and stuff like that?
It's actually, you're the right person to be here, Vitto. Me and Vitto went for drinks one time, and I was like, I have no idea what to do for this festival. Like blah blah blah. What on earth do I do? And then Vitto was like, why don't you write about your family? Like. There's probably something there.
It was not about this festival though. I
said,
it was
like,
just in
general.
should write in general about your family. Later on, not now.
And I was like, no.
She was like, I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, and then I was like, Vitto told me to. And then,
it's all his fault.
So if it goes into shambles, we have someone to blame.
But if it goes great, it's Saoirse.
Then it's all mine. Me. Yeah. But no, that kind of, I was like, maybe experiment with that. Like, it's my first time writing. We're in a safe place to do it. I was like, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
If it goes bad, it goes bad. I can learn from it. But I've quite enjoyed the writing process, to be honest. Finding the time to do it amongst all the other stuff has been a bit of a hassle. But getting it written, especially like the editing phase, I've really enjoyed. Like, it's made me, go through it, recognise I write very academically because I'm so used to writing essay. Like the amount of there's a line in it that's like, I've now changed it because I talked to Cece, but it was like, regarding this blah blah blah, and I was like, no one speaks like that. No. But yeah, I have enjoyed it. Producing,
hey,
it's pretty good.
Hey, producing
and pretty cool. So the producing part, loved getting Cece on board, was great. Natasha, the whole audition process was lovely. Cece came round to my house, she cooked me dinner.
Hey!
We cast the show.
Cece.
I had leftovers, had it with a jacket potato the next day.
Love
it
that.
was great.
Love that.
Shout out potatoes.
Pure British.
Literally so true.
Pure Irish.
Right. Hey, Vitto.
I said pure British, the jack potato.
Jacket potato, yes, but potatoes in general.
The famine no longer is here.
Yes. That's good. I'm glad that you found a good actor appropriate for your show. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the finished product.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be special.
If I can say something, I think it's very brave what you're doing as well, because it's one of those experiences that not many people have, and those that have it probably don't even have the time necessarily to speak about it. So in a way, like for you to put yourself out there and be like, hey, this is part of what has been my life so far, I think it's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
Stop it.
For real.
Yeah. And it's, I'm just kind of repeating what you said, but it is like unique in a way.
100%.
And I think that, like, as you said, it's a safe space, and by safe space I mean like you're not like investing a bunch of your own money and you're not gonna like lose financially, like, whereas obviously outside of institution you could be doing that. If you're taking a risk, putting on a play, you're gonna, like investors and stuff like that. It's like, okay, guys, but like, yeah, it is really good. I guess. Yeah. My next question is like, it's kind of two questions. I'm thinking is, as a producer, what do you want to get out of this show apart from the degree, and what do you want audiences apart from the degree, guys?
We've had to acknowledge that every single time.
Yes, everyone. I want a distinction.
Yeah.
Well, we all know what we're here for. It's fun.
Ew.
Number one is fun.
Number one is fun.
Hey.
And that is whilst we think about it. As a producer, what do you want to get out of the show, and what do you want audiences to take away?
That's a great question.
And obviously it's different for everyone. And just put that out there as well.
What do I want from the show? It's a story, maybe not through theatre, I'm not really sure yet, but like it is a story that I would like to develop further.
Yes.
Kind of using this, not to quote Eric Moll, shout out to Eric.
Shout out to Eric. My guy Eric.
Using it as like a workshopy kind of thing, seeing if there is potential, seeing it if there is like a target audience there that would be interested in the story, and kind of seeing if there's any developments that can be made there. Obviously 45 minutes, one person can be intense. I suppose figuring out, does it work like that? Working with Cece as well, I really am looking forward to that dynamic. Obviously Cece's a good friend and drinking buddy, but like developing that professional relationship. That was an error. That professional relationship, seeing how we work together, and what will become of that. I'm really excited to see. Working with a budget. Me and numbers are not best pals, as this year has proven.
That budget isn't a very good friend either.
Working with a budget is exciting. The main reason I kind of wanted to come here was to be able to look at a spreadsheet and not cry.
Which, and I will say this, you have done immensely well in progressing from where you were at the beginning of the year to like when we were talking about the investment pack. You've done so well, so I just want to say that.
Yeah,
guys.
The moment of clarity.
That
was great.
My revelation, guys, was insane.
Yeah.
It was 4 o'clock on Easter Sunday. Maybe
you saw the Virgin Mary.
He has risen.
The Pope died, and he came to me in a dream, and he was like, "Saoirse, you can do it."
And Jesus had a computer with an Excel spreadsheet on.
You know how people like
the blue light turned into a cross.
You know how people like see Jesus' face in toast or something?
You saw
it in, like,
real
the cells,
Jesus.
You saw in the cells of your Excel sheet. That's what was happening. Yeah.
The Our Father just came up.
In your piece.
Working with a budget, genuinely, and making the most of all that in-kind support. And the festival more. Can I speak about the festival more?
Yeah.
I'm really excited for us all to have that like adrenaline. And like riding that high for the festival, because it's got to be draining, but it's going to be so much fun. And at the minute, I feel like we're all like, the festival, like
it's long.
But I'm so excited for it to begin. And it's going to be chaos, but it's going to be our chaos. And we're going to have a wonderful time.
That's the way to sell it.
I can't speak for everyone, but personally I thrive in chaos. So bring it on.
So I'm really excited for that.
That's good. Nice.
And to have a picnic in nicer weather than this. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that it's raining now, because it means in a few weeks' time it will be sunny. So
the sun will come out.
Tomorrow.
During Viewfest.
The vault. It'll come out.
And we'll be producing.
Did you say Tibble instead of festival?
I don't know.
I said Viewfest.
And then I
okay.
It was a duet.
It was a duet.
Yeah.
Everything we do is a duet.
Exactly.
All good. Yes. Did you say what audience?
My target audience?
Yeah, like what do you want audiences to kind of take away from this?
I want them to love me. No.
I want them to worship the ground I walk.
And they will. So don't even worry.
just maybe to raise awareness, especially like themes of like, you know, being a carer. I know like there's a few people that we've met this year through being on placement and stuff where people can relate to that.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, the basics of being mindful of others, being respectful of others. Creating a space where like these misrepresented or misunderstood stories can be told. Just for people to have a good time. Bit of cheap theatre. 45 minutes.
Exactly, so come watch the show.
And even if the writing's bad, the lighting. It's like Friends.
Yeah.
You can always compliment the good lighting. So
I was gonna say that like going from having not written anything before to writing a 45-minute one-person show is crazy. Like it's a really intense task to take on, and like you and Nico and I don't know, but you two have like gone from not writing anything before, like anything like super significant, and Chloe as well, to.
But you've written before.
I have, yeah.
Have you ever written a one person?
No.
So how have you found that? Sorry to become the interviewer.
The tables have turned.
Yeah. How the
difficult. It is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and mine's a bit different because it's in sections.
Yeah.
So, like, I even have written more than 45 minutes, so I need to cut down. That process is going to go with my actor and deciding what works for her and what works on stage, and then we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's long.
Would you
mentally
write a one person show again? Not for a long time.
I think it's hard because in the industry it's like okay, like how many actors can you afford to pay?
Yeah.
How much rehearsal time can you afford? So I think all of that is more likely to influence what I put on in the future rather than what I'm capable of doing. Because I don't know, as someone who has done many disciplines, aka writing, directing, MDing, whatever, producing, all that stuff, it's like, but I kind of think whatever is asked of me, I can do it. But it just depends on time, who we have, whether we have the space, like all of these logistical things are more limiting, I think, than my ability, or I don't know if that's I don't know if that's like
that's
naive to say, but like that's how I felt. And I think this year that we've learned in this degree has shown that, because throwing it back to the solo events, like we only had a certain amount of budget and we only had a certain amount of time to put it on, and we could do, I mean, we could have literally put on a festival back in term one potentially, but like we didn't have the time or budget or knowledge to do that. And so it's not necessarily like our abilities, it's more like the limitations that we are afforded that depend on what we actually end up making. Like the reason why we're all doing 45-minute one-person shows is because that is our task, not because that's what we all think is the ultimate creative process. So yeah, that's a bit of a long answer, but that's
that's good.
Cool. The final question for this bit will be: what other shows in the festival or wraparound events are you like the most excited about?
I was talking to you about this the other day. I'm really excited for two in particular, and I think they're very similar themes. The Institution of Failed Artists. I'm really excited for that. Every time I hear about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so good. And then Crescent Crisis. I think they're both about like trying not to like give up on what you have aspired towards, and I think they're going to be very different but have a really like hopeful uplifting message to them, and I think it's fitting us going out into the big wide world.
I agree.
To have that kind of message of hope. I'm also really excited for Nico's show. Stroke in the Sun. She's so passionate about it. First time writing as well, so kind of that I can relate to that, but I just think it's going to be a really lovely piece. I'm really excited for her, and
Yeah, I completely agree.
And all of your shows, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. And none for business.
There we go.
So we're going to now move on to Vitto.
Hello, Vitto.
And we're going to talk about his show. So Vitto, if you could please tell us the name of your show and when is it on?
Yeah, the show is called Danzig.
Spell that for us.
Danzig.
Very nice.
Yeah, and which is the German name of Danzig, which is a town in Poland, and it's gonna be on the 25th of June at 7:45 and on the 28th at 8 p.m.
Very nice.
Yes, 7:45 p.m. Of course.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay.
Don't come in the morning.
The building might not be open.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, it's more open to it.
Yeah. Very
nice.
Cool.
Talking about your creative team. Yeah, give us some information about your creative team, actor, director,
so
writer.
the director is going to be me.
Woo!
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's just us two in the festival that are directing our pieces.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Which I'm very super excited about. My writer is called Sofia Reggiani. She's from my same hometown in Switzerland, so Lugano, and I met her a couple of years ago. We actually didn't know each other before, but met her a couple of years ago, and it was September, one of the last time I met her before we start this project, and I was telling her about how I wanted to do something about memories. And she was like, "Ooh, well, I have exactly like attack studies about memories." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna contact you at some point, and you're gonna write this for me." And my actress, it's called Mona, and she used to be in drama school with me because I studied as an actor. So she's of German origins. She's half German, half Syrian, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But her family has heritage in like the Eastern European countries as well. So,
nice.
It was important for me to kind of like bring the kind of first generation immigrants working together, because that's something that I always struggle with in this industry.
Yeah.
Like the lack of representation.
Do all of your creatives currently live in the UK then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Nice.
I mean, yeah. I'm living, I don't know where. Like in this moment in time, I'm like somewhere in the sky, probably dreaming. I'm probably still in my bed, but we're all living in the UK.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Do you want to talk a bit about like what your show's about, and then like putting it together? Yeah.
So as I said, it's about memories, and is actually is based on a true story as well, which is Sophia's grandmother's story when she moved from Poland to Switzerland. And this woman eventually like lived her entire life in Switzerland. She got married, had children, blah, blah, blah. But then she started suffering of Alzheimer at one point. And I found really interesting this idea of essentially like as a migrant, the only thing that is left of you and your past life is your memories. There is nothing tangible anymore, especially if you're coming, like in her case, from a war situation. So it's the question, I think, is like what happens when the memory about your past fades out, who you are at that point, and what is left of you. Deep.
We love it.
Yeah. I think we were chatting to Ula on the previous episode, and she was talking about how your themes are similar.
Yeah.
Between your shows.
Yeah.
But then also like you have hers is very much about like a young person and like coming of age almost, and yours is like not about. So like, we were just saying like themes of like memory and identity and place are very prevalent in your show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a little bit, I think, similar to Holly as well, because she has something to do with memories as well. So, it's I don't know why I've always been like kind of stuck with this idea of memory. I think because I have a terrible memory. I think because I have a terrible memory. No, but
Yeah.
but
You're
it's
very like philosophical though and psychological.
Yes.
Like
yeah
you love
thinking.
reading and thinking and all
Yeah.
that jazz.
Yeah. And there is like the I think the time me and Sophia met, there was like this story that came out, which is based on an Italian book written in the 1500s, where there is like this man that is desperately in love and he loses wits completely, and his best friend basically grab a chariot and he goes to the moon to look for this like lost wit. And the reason why it goes to the moon is because everything that gets lost apparently ends up in the moon.
There.
Exactly. And there is like this beautiful line is a poem, and there is this beautiful line that says like that when he arrives, he finds loads of lost times and like moments that people forgot about and stuff like that. So it's a beautiful memory, a beautiful type of thing to think about memory in that way, and we try to integrate that in our show as well.
What is that poem called?
It's called the Furies Orlando. It's an epic poem. It's very long, but
Okay, I want to read that.
beautiful.
That sounds so
That is just like
up my alley.
yeah,
Actually.
that is actually just a small part of the poem. It's like at the end, but it's absolutely stunning as a thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
That actually has. I'm so interested in that now. When you brought that up, that's really, really cool.
Cool. Tell us, like, what was the creative process of like putting the show together? Like, have you started rehearsals yet? First.
We did last week.
Nice. So so tell us like some stories about like leading up to like creating the show. How was that? And like maybe some stories from rehearsals, like how they're going, how it's been in the room.
Well, as I said, like it all started with this kind of like conversation. Then Sophia, we met. I think it was in April, and she told me what she wanted to do, what was her idea, and the fact that she wanted to talk about her grandmother and stuff like that. And she just went to write it. I love doing dramaturgy as a thing, so it's like, right, let's sit down, let's restructure everything, and pretty much that has been the biggest part of the whole process. After I casted Mona, we had a reading last week. We discovered that it was way too long, and so
I felt that in your tone.
so yeah, we just basically like at the moment we have a final version of it, but we cut it drastically. And I think like creatively the biggest discussion we had, it was if we wanted to bring which actor did we want to have on stage, because of course it's the story of an 89-year-old woman, but it's gonna be acted by a 30-year-old woman. So and that was part of the process, and there was this idea behind of essentially like creating almost a visual image of how do we see each other as people. And I don't know if it ever happens to you, but like I sometimes think about myself and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally in my 20s. Like I struggle so much to like after I turned 30 to actually be like, I'm in my 30s now.
Well, I'm still 17.
I'm 16 in my head.
Exactly.
I'm a little child.
And there is this idea behind. I was like, okay, and I bounced it to Sophia, and she was like, I love it. To just have a young version of this is how this woman sees herself still now, even if she's 89, and probably she's gonna stay like that forever.
Just touching upon like you saying about cutting down the script. Did you find that challenging? Like, as in like the sense of like, did you feel like if you cut certain parts that it would like affect the script or affect the flow of like the play?
The flow more than anything, because essentially like the first dramaturgy session we had together, it was about like adding bits in it that could break a little bit the idea of like this is a one person show with a person for 45 minutes talking, which might comes out as highly monotonous, especially if the theme is kind of heavy. So so we decided to put in like phone calls from the children of these women and stuff like that. But then I received an email from Dawn, and she was like, we have a problem. And I was like, what is it? And she was like, well, that's not really a one-person show. That sounds like a two-hand type of thing. So I was like, okay, fine. And I talked to the writer and was like, look, can we just go back to what it was originally, like just the monologue, and it's basically a conversation between the character and her memory. And I was like, can we just go back to that? And she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. She said like she actually didn't quite care for the phone calls that I put in. So if it has been easy, yeah, kind of like, yes, it has been easy. It has been challenging. Like I have my concern in terms of like, this is still a 45 minutes show with one person on stage talking. Yeah. Is a lot.
Yeah. It's our job to make
it
interesting.
I know.
To make it
Can I ask
interesting.
a question?
Yeah, go.
So obviously, like, you've done directing before.
Yeah.
It's not your first time directing. Now doing like the producing course.
Yeah.
Has it like changed the way you approach directing?
I was going to ask something similar.
Sorry, I'm literally
taking
over.
Still her job.
That's such a good question.
Still her job.
It's fine.
I think it, for me, it kind of like enhanced the possibility you have as a director. As in, like, if you just direct and you have somebody else producing, and usually like we have to be no people, but we tends to be like yes people all the time. So like if a director comes to you and he's gonna be like, ooh, I want like a grand staircase, you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, but it's painful. I'll try my best. I'm gonna pay the money and whatever. But in like, to be a producer and to be a director, it puts you in this thing of like, you see the budget and you're like, okay, I don't have those things. So you have to have that conversation with yourself and be like, cut it. Cut like all the big ideas and everything. And I always, all the time I enter any space creative, I always go with the mind of like, what is going to be the National Theatre version, which is the one with millions of pounds on the back, and what is the pub theatre version. So this is what we are actually aiming at. And I really love theatre when it's not too complex, when in terms of like when it doesn't have a big naturalistic set and stuff like that. I love when people use their brain to really work out how to put something complex in the easiest way possible. So I think producing and directing put you straight into that mode of being like, yeah, can't do it, I need to find a solution, and I needed to find it creatively but also producing wise. So there is like this double thing. I love it.
I just want to say, like, just what you were saying there about like working with such a limited budget, but I think it was you earlier on, like literally at the very start of the year, and you actually opened my eye to this, because I was always like, creatively it's so much more easy to like you're more creative when you have no limitations. But then you argued, and I was like, oh my god, you're actually like completely right. And you argued where it was like, yeah, but if you have these limitations, you have to like be more creative to find out how you can actually manage to do it with the limitations, which I never thought of before. And it was just such an interesting like way to look at things, where I was like, oh my god, actually like you really do have to like creatively be like, I've only got like, not that we have only a tenor, but like I've only got a tenor. How am I gonna like do what I want with this now? And like sometimes you don't, but more often than not you do figure out a way to pull it off.
Well, it's like it was Grotowski that like put the idea of poor theatre out, and he says like the theatre, the only thing that theatre need is an actor and a person in the audience, and you already have theatre. As long as you have storytelling, you don't need a director, you don't need like set designing, you don't need lights, you don't need anything. As long as you have somebody telling a story, that already is theatre. And I feel also is, in a way, it can be safer, because in the moment you get complex, like the judgment of people is going to be even more complex. Like everything gets complicated. When if you keep it as easy as possible, people can only recognize how creative you have been, and I feel like as theatre maker, this is all we have to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think
Bars.
it is true. I think also like something that's good quality, simple, can stay with people more than
Yeah.
something that like has higher production value,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
like it's just not as, it just doesn't have the heart or it doesn't have the story.
Yeah.
Like you need to, my piece doesn't have a lot of set. There's basically just like a person acting as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Is basically what my
Yeah.
piece is, and trying to like explain the story. And I feel like that's quite like, as a director, I'm much more story focused.
Yeah.
And then putting my producer hat on, it's like, okay, what are the minimal things that I need to get to serve the story?
Yeah.
And to like, okay, just to make it clear, this is what's happening
Yeah.
Mhm.
in the story.
Yeah.
And then that will come across to the audience, and then they can feel or react accordingly,
Yeah.
as exactly as planned.
No, and it's exciting in an era of like social media and where everything is very facade and is very
Yeah.
Yeah.
empty behind. I think it's fundamental to just go back to what is the content, what is the real content, not what is the content,
Yeah.
but what is the real like mass of stuff that are behind everything, this
Yeah.
beautiful package that we're
Yeah.
putting on.
The
So,
script.
yeah.
Also, this is kind of irrelevant, but I just wanted to shout out your designs for the View Festival.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Every time I see that poster, I'm like, it's just stunning.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And it's just cool. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, that was just a side shout out for
Thank
your,
you.
Yeah.
for your designs.
For his side hustle.
For your designs. Yeah, it was just really good.
You'll pay us later though, yeah.
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 Yeah, you can sponsor us for this pod.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Where are we?
Kind of. I mean, we
Yeah.
can talk about like the challenges, or we can just go into what
Let's
the
do
shows.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll go. What other shows in the festival or wraparound events are you
Mm.
most excited for?
That's a difficult question.
None of them.
Imagine you're like, actually just mine.
Yeah.
No, I feel like at the end of a year together, I'm just excited to see this. I feel like every single show
Uh-huh.
is a little like window into a small part of us. It's not the whole of us, but it's a small part of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I feel there is loads of intimate parts that we are showing here.
Yeah.
Even stuff that not necessarily we have talked amongst each other. Maybe we have touched here and there, drunk. Maybe I don't remember it because again, I have a terrible memory.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's so yeah, I'm excited for all of them
Yeah.
actually, because I really want to see. I want to spy a little bit inside of all of you, and yeah, one favorite.
Not favourite. Are you
No,
the
one,
most
one that I'm
excited?
most excited.
They haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
No, I can't really say. I think Ula is, but yeah, for the vicinity of the theme, for
Yeah.
the fact that Ula as well as me, like we are feeling like this pain of being like first generation immigrants
Uh-huh.
within the industry, and I'm really excited for her to have brought together all these amazing creatives and to basically just be like, look at us, we can do this.
Yeah.
We might have a weird accent, but it doesn't matter. Like, no, I think like, because this is what you hear your entire life. It's
Yeah.
always like, I mean, the first thing I heard in my life, it was like, oh, you're gonna play like the mafia boy for the rest of your life because you have an Italian accent.
Well,
It's like, thank you so very much.
moving here was. I never thought I had an accent before I moved here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
relatable. Relatable content.
Yeah.
And about the wraparounds, I'm actually excited about Monica's producer's journey.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
a lovely
Excuse me, I'm involved in that one as well.
You're
And
involved.
Saoirse.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That will
Monica and
actually be
Saoirse.
a really, really lovely
We
one.
can cut that.
Yeah.
Monica and Saoirse.
Monica and Saoirse.
Yeah.
Guys, the attention's not on me, come on.
But give me more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I jump off that? I think saying like you're excited for all of them. We're 12 very different
Yeah.
producers with 12 very different interests.
Yeah.
But like, as you say, it's very intimate stories. So like, it's got to be it's so varied, but there is that kind of unity there as well.
I've been saying, and I think this is it keeps becoming more apparent during the shows when like, and it's been so actually, just to like even go off what Vitto was saying about like having this little window into the person when watching their shows, but even doing this podcast has given me like a little, like, maybe not window, but like a door. What do you call those things when you know what I'm talking about?
A cat flap?
No, not the cat flap. But also like see him just. But what's that thing? I forget the actual name of it. Like the door hole. You know, like when
peephole.
A peephole. Yeah, peephole. Like a peephole just into like who they are as like a person. It's just like, because I think a lot of people have written stuff from, I don't want to say necessarily experiences or stuff, but like stuff that they like
value.
Yeah, they value, and like they're putting a part of them into the show, and being able to talk to them about that has been very insightful. But what I've been able to see recently is that even though like all our shows have different themes and different, like when you look at them on paper, you'd be like, oh, they're all different. When I hear everyone talk about them, there's these common threads that are linking throughout. Like family. I know me and Nico's are talking about, and your Saoirse, we're talking in some way about family and like drawing from family experience. There's like that like a foreign aspect and like kind of migration aspect of Vitto's and Ula's, and it's like there is a same thread, but like the thread might be multicolored, so it is different but the same. It's really cool to be like, oh my god, there's just little bits from each show that I'm like, oh, this is like a little bit like mine, but at the same time it's a completely different show.
Which also explain like why we got so close as a group. Like this all here has been, I don't know about you guys, but it has been for me, like I've been sucked in this thing, and I'm like, and after 2 weeks I knew you. I was like, I know these people from basically all my life, and then I was like, no, you know them since 2 weeks, you cannot trust them.
Especially the Irish one.
We'll never know.
But we are all similar within being like different amongst each other, 100%. And
it's good.
Yeah, I love it. I love you guys.
What I love is we
love you too, Vitto.
You're all right. We're all really passionate about our shows, which is really lovely. Like in the production meetings, especially like as we're getting closer and closer, and it's like, right, where are we with our productions? Everyone's like, I had a table read, like I have a script, and it's like, oh, like people are so excited about their shows, and that kind of like sets you up as well. You're like going in and you're like, oh, it's gonna be so good, and like true. It's really lovely.
It's building up. We're revving up our engine.
2 weeks, guys.
Let's go.
That was the engine noise.
Just to kind of like wrap up the pod. This podcast. This is a question for both of you, but what are some things, whether it be TV, film, or music, that have inspired you recently? Maybe not even necessarily for your show, but it just been like inspirational to you.
Well, that you've been enjoying recently, like any kind of recommendations or anything. And it can be theatre as well. Yeah.
You go.
Me? Connor, I've been telling you to watch it all year. Inside Number 9.
Oh yeah, and I did watch one episode, and I did love it. So give me 3 weeks. In 3 weeks' time, July.
Guys, if you haven't watched Inside Number 9, watch Inside Number 9. It's a crazy show. I feel like if Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith didn't write this, they would be serial killers. Like, it's insane.
It also recently had a stage adaptation.
It did, which I didn't get to see, which is tragic.
Well, that's because of the prices.
Yeah.
My friend was in it. Shout out Christina Tellers.
My dad recommended me this show, and whenever Dad recommends me stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to watch that. You have terrible taste. And this.
And then you close yourself in the room.
And then I was like, damn it.
I can't let him know. It's
But yeah, the show's wild, but it's very funny, very dark at times. All over Christmas, I was telling Connor to watch it. He's watched one episode. He has listened.
And it was great. And
it was very good. But yeah, I have a weird fascination with that show. In terms of theatre, I watched Fiddler on the Roof the other day
at the
Barbican. I know you weren't keen on it, but. I loved it, and it made me realise I need to keep seeing musical theatre, because I love normal theatre, not normal theatre, but like plays. And then I went to see that, and the last one I'd seen before that was Mincemeat, which I also loved. And I was like, God, I just need to keep watching musicals. Every time I come out of a musical, I just rave about it for ages. I was listening to Fiddler this morning. The other week I was listening to Mincemeat.
Vicky recommendations are really good, guys.
That's another podcast by itself.
That can be like a segment.
Yeah.
But I was going to mention Mincemeat earlier when we were talking about like simple but effective stuff. Like Mincemeat is like a spectacle, but not in like the
traditional sense.
Yeah, like money's gone into it. Don't get me wrong, but like it's 5 actors playing like 100 roles between them.
Yeah. I was going to say the pace of the jokes as well, the writing.
So well done.
It's really inspirational.
Yeah.
The way the tone of the show is so clear. Just all of that stuff,
They started at Fringe as well, Fringe level.
Yeah, definitely.
Just you wait, guys. We're going to be on Broadway, nominated for Tonys soon as well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Vitto, anything?
For me, I have 3 shows.
Yeah.
One that is gone, but I really hope they're going to bring it back, which is Ken Rex. And
Ken Rex.
Oh, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, I think it was absolutely stunning. And is how to do a one-person show on
That's
stage.
Southwark Playhouse.
It was Southwark Playhouse. I really hope they're going to bring it back. The other one, which I think is at the moment in the West End, is Giant. Just for the writing, because it's like amazingly written, and is very like now as a topic. And then here we are at the National. I really loved it. I know lots of people didn't, but I'm like, well, find a therapist if you didn't like it. Like something is wrong with you. It's a brilliant show. Is weird and is truly the different thing at the moment in the West End.
I love weird things.
Yeah,
I love weird things.
I was also talking to Eric Moll.
Shout out to Eric.
I think you should shut up, Eric. As well.
Well, yeah, do.
But we talk about, whenever we have a drink in us, we talk about Sondheim, me and Eric.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
We're those kind of kids. And he made a really good point. He was like, Sondheim shows in their original run are never successful. And then they come back in 25 to 50 years time. And everyone's like, oh my God, how did it not like land the first time?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is here we are.
Which makes me think about like how do you feel as a reviewer to be that person that shut down a show that in 20 years time actually is going to be considered a masterpiece? Like, are you that good as a reviewer? I'm gonna leave you with that question.
Are you that good as a reviewer?
I'll also be able to give a review because I'm seeing it next week.
That's a perfect way to wrap up this podcast. Are you good as a reviewer? Let's review the reviewers.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been
review.
I'll
show myself out.
Let's think about View Festival,
Yeah.
everybody. And if you've reached the end of this podcast, you better have already booked tickets.
Yeah,
you can listen to a podcast and book tickets at the same time.
Yeah, just book tickets. Like,
I've
what
done
are you
it.
actually doing?
Yeah.
Book the tickets.
Yeah,
idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, you lovely
book
people.
the tickets. You're gonna help. Like, just book the tickets.
Yeah, it's true.
Please.
Honestly, I
And
swear
it's
to
true.
God.
Okay.
Kindly.
Very nice.
Honestly,
Thank
this
you.
has been great.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
listening,
listening.
Vitto.